Has anybody seen my letter to Hogwarts? I still haven't received it. Hey everyone, Feeny here from Feeny Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone. Not the book, but the movie. 25 years ago, the movie came out, and I think that's crazy. I'm feeling really old right now. This has been a story that has accompanied me literally throughout my entire life. I still remember back in 9th grade, so I grew up in Germany. In 9th grade, you have to do an internship. And, you know, the bookworm that I already was back then, I did the internship at a bookstore. It was like 6 or 8 weeks is, I believe, what you usually have to do. And that was the time where the first 3 books of Harry Potter came out, all at the same time. Back then, translations took a little bit longer, so the English version was out already at that point. But, you know, when I was in 9th grade, I didn't read English books, I read them in German. But yeah, I remember those 3 books coming out and eating them up, binging them, loving them, like everybody else back then. So what I wanted to do today is share with you 5 books plus 1 bonus book that you might like if you enjoyed the story of Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, and are looking for similar adventure type stories. The only difference, these are all adult books. None of this is middle grade or YA. These are all books for adults. Book number 1 I want to talk about is Matthew Wolf's A Knife's Edge, which is book 1 in the Ronin saga. The reason for adding this book to the list is you have a similar trio like Harry, Ron, and Hermione in this book. Just different names. In this case, it's Gray, Darius, and Ava. And in particular, we are following Gray, who actually went to a school at the beginning, even though the main part here is not a school setting. But he went to a school that he had to flee very suddenly because he was accused of murdering his best friend. He caught her casting a spell that was definitely above her abilities, and unfortunately she passed because of that, so he had to run. And then we follow him a couple of years later. That all happens at the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything. And then we follow him a couple of years later. His memory of all of that was wiped, so he actually doesn't know who he is or, you know, how he grew up. And we're following him as he's living his life with an older mentor character till even that life is becoming very dangerous and they have to flee. And then adventure ensues, of course. Throughout his journey, he meets Ava and Darius, and they all 3 become inseparable. Currently, there are 5 books out in this series. There are 2 or 4 more planned. I'm not sure the author knows himself. The next book I want to talk about is The Burnt Name by Sean Bobby Kerr. That is book 1 in the Malum trilogy. Book 2 is actually set to release later this year. I'm very excited for that. This one is the anti-magical school. We are all still waiting for our letter from Hogwarts. Everett Dyer, our main character in this story, is actually saying no to his invite. At the very beginning, we are meeting a sorceress that wants Everett to join the school, and he is flat out saying no because he enjoys his life in small town Delwood. Actually, he's about to propose to the love of his life at the yearly proposal festival. He has a good friend. They love to go out for a drink every now and then, so why would he give that up for a random school somewhere in a country he doesn't know much about? Turns out, of course he has to go on an adventure, because what would a fantasy story with an unlikely hero like Everett be? So we are following him. The first part has a very whimsical tone because we get to know Everett a lot closer. We get to know the town of Delwood and all of his friends and his family. And then the second half changes to a slightly darker tone. So if you are in for darker fantasy, this one is definitely a book for you to check out. Book number 3 that I want to talk about is The Outcast Mage by Annabelle Campbell. Also, book 2 is coming later this year. Very excited for that. In The Outcast Mage, we are following Nyla, who is a mage with no magical abilities, which makes her an outcast in the school. She deals a lot with being bullied and just being an outsider in her school, trying to figure out how she is going to pass the upcoming test. Also in this story, we have that older mentor character, which is a very lovable character, by the way. I love how he is like in his study, hidden underneath stacks of books and papers, till one day, of course, something goes tragically wrong and she has to flee the city. Very great setup book. I'm definitely very excited to see book 2 because by the end of this book, we are kind of starting the journey and don't really know yet where we are going with Nyla and what's in store for her. So I'm very excited to see how that continues, but a fantastic start of a series, very fast read, very entertaining, great characters, great depth too on who the villain is on this side. All right, don't hate me for my next recommendation, but it's on the list because it's British. Perilous Times by Thomas DeLee is actually an Arthurian-inspired dystopian sci-fi, even though it has a very much a fantasy look to it, and it's a retelling of the Arthurian legend. So it is a sci-fantasy, definitely set in the future, but with fantasy characters. And in this version of Britain, we're in the future, the Knights of the Round Table are immortal, but they're sleeping pretty much. They're buried and they're sleeping unless there is danger for Britain, and that's what's happening here. So Sir Kay is being woken up to help fix Britain. This is very much a dystopian sci-fi focused on climate change and the environment, so there are a lot of topics around that, but it is packaged in that Arthurian saga, and other than Sir Kay, we get to meet all of the classical characters, including Merlin and so on. Lots of great humor in here, and a standalone. Can we appreciate that in fantasy for a second, that we have a standalone here, not a 7-book series? Although I have to say, I've read recently that there is a prequel novella now, prequel novel. I'm not 100% sure. It's only out in Britain so far, so once it is out in the US, I will definitely get my hands on it. Recommendation number 5 is of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. This is also a series in progress, but we have a lot of novels and novellas out already, so there's lots to read. And this book is on the list because dragons. The dragons in Harry Potter are some of my favorite, especially in the movies. I think they translated them incredibly well. I love movie 4, especially for the dragons. I mean, I'm a big dragon fan, what can I say? And Ryan Cahill delivers on the dragon theme as well in a really, really good way. We are in the world of Etheria, and we're following our main character, Callan, who is a teenager at the time we're starting the story, and we're seeing him and his friends proving himself to become adults at the yearly event that all the young adults have to go through, but he is not doing it alone. He is doing it with his 2 friends, also a group of 3, although they are all 3 boys. So we also get to meet Rist and Dan and get to see what these 3 boys have in store for us. Similar to your classical fantasy, they are then pulled into an adventure that is much bigger than what they're used to in their small town. They have to go on a journey, and they meet a group of characters that changes their life. The way the dragons are included in here is amazing. You get to see a bond form between the characters and the dragons, and it's just a really great relationship. Book 1 is a great setup to the story. It gets you involved. It tells you a little bit more about the world, but keeps you entertained with everything that is in store for our group of 3. All right, and my honorable mention, I wanted to add this book, but it's a bit of a stretch. Even more so than British. But that is Warehouse Dreams by Teresa Halvorsen. This is a dystopian sci-fi romance. And the reason why I wanted to include it is because this is a school setting, but from a teacher perspective. We're following Kendall, who's a teacher at this nonprofit school, and the school is focused on rescuing wilds. Wilds are humans with special abilities that they were born with, compared to breds who were designed to have special abilities. It has a little bit of an X-Men inspiration in here, so it has very much these supernatural abilities that these teenagers need to learn how to control, and Candle is finding these teenagers who are in trouble and helping them getting into the school so they can learn to maneuver around their abilities. There's a lot of conversation around prejudice and injustice towards those teenagers because they're kind of not welcome in that society, and then on top of that there's a lot of conversations around how nonprofits are struggling to keep the doors open. And then to top it all off, to loosen up the serious themes a little bit, we have a very interesting romance here between Candle and a Bred who's joining the teacher rank that she is very skeptical of initially. Book 1 in a trilogy. Book 2 is already out. Book 3 will be out very, very soon. So something that you can get into and start binging. All right, those are the 6 books I think you would like if you enjoyed Harry Potter in your younger years. Which one is your favorite Harry Potter story? Which one of the 7 is your favorite? I have to go with, from a movie perspective, I love number 1. I love just watching that and having it run in the background. It's just pure nostalgia for me. But then overall, from a story perspective, 4 absolutely is my favorite because of the dragons. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. And if you're looking for more recommendations, maybe what you might like if you enjoyed Lord of the Rings, take a look at this video as it will add a couple more books to your TBR. I hope you enjoy it. And then I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I see you soon with another video. Bye!